We just got to ride a bike with the Shimano Linkglide drivetrain, the e-bike specific drivetrain. And we made a review of this drivetrain, so check it out. But the bike was quite interesting too, so we wanted to make a piece about that. It's the 2022 Merida eOne-Sixty 975. So those final 3 digits means it's an alloy frame bike. 9, it's the top of the line model. 75 is the 750 watt-hours battery. This is a third-party battery, and it actually fits in the frame. No changes has been made to the frame that last year used to carry the 630 watt-hours Shimano battery. But the battery cover is new, and the battery lock attachment is new, and I really like both these. I prefer them over the previous Shimano integration. The battery cover, sure, it might feel a tad cheaper than the old one, but it's really easily removable. Just a quarter of a turn of this lock and off the lid goes. And underneath is a new integration we've never seen before, and it turns out you have to move this short rod up, and then there's a secondary mechanism on the left that you pull, and then the battery will drop out into your hands. And yeah, we prefer this one over the old one because that was a 4mm Allen nut hidden deep inside the frame, and you couldn't really see it. You had to know it was there, and you had to sort of search for it blindly with a tool. So this one, yeah, I prefer this solution. This bike basically is the same as the old one, except for some minor changes like the battery integration and also the rear axle. Previously, if you wanted to remove the rear wheel, you started turning the axle, but it would crash into the link between the seat stays and the chain stays. So you have to pull the handle slightly outwards. If you could pull the handle all the way out, then you get an Allen key, but you had to sort of leave it in a middle position to make the lever of the axle clear the link. And that was a bit of a hassle. But on this new one, they've made a cutout into the handle, so you don't really have to pull it out. On the first turns, you might feel it's rubbing a bit against the link, a bit too hard, but just keep pushing and it's okay. And on the next turn, it's clear, completely clear. So yeah, that's a good change too, I think. So with this new big 750 watt-hours battery, it weighs in at 4.2-ish kilos. And the Linkglide drivetrain, I mean, the cassette alone is almost 800 grams. And this is the aluminium frame, so it will of course be heavier than the carbon versions. So this has to be a really heavy bike, doesn't it? We threw it on the scales, and yeah, it sure was. With pedals, we are at 25.9 kilos. Not insanely heavy compared to a lot of the competition with big battery and aluminium frames, but it's a lot for a Merida. I mean, we've ridden pretty much all the Meridas since they were introduced. In 2017, I rode the eOne-Sixty 800. It was a really fun and nimble bike, but also not the most stable and confidence-inspiring descender. It was a good descender, but I was sort of expecting more from a 160mm travel bike perhaps. And for the 2020 model year, Merida introduced a new model that was sort of addressing this a bit. The longer wheelbase, a bit slacker head angle, and a bit heavier. So they made still a fairly nimble and enjoyable bike to ride, but the downhill capabilities was improved. And then we rode the 2021 model, the 9000 version, with a Fox Performance Elite 38 fork. And also it got more durable, heavier tires, the Maxxis with the Exo Plus casing. And these changes further improved the sort of downhill capabilities of this bike. So for every iteration of the Merida eOne-Sixty, it has sort of inched towards becoming more capable on the descents. Yet at the same time, they've always been sort of playful bikes. But this new bike, the alloy version, at almost 2 kilos more, can it still be nimble? How capable is it really descending? Well, as it turns out, Merida continues the trend of inching towards more capable descenders. And this bike, we rode it in size medium, which is fairly small for us. Yeah, this was pretty insane. It was so confidence inspiring. We were going way too fast into rocky sections and we weren't really able to pick out the line, but it didn't matter. We just picked out the 2 or 3 biggest rocks and decided to miss them, and it just straight lined everything else. And being a size medium, it was still quite easy to maneuver and handle, and I enjoy lightweight bikes, but I enjoyed this bike too. This was intense and fun.